It's that time again. It's Tuesday morning. I mean, afternoon, or no. Welcome to Step It Up. This is Shalece. I'm a compulsive eater. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. Okay. Lulu and I are very excited to share our experience, strength, and hope in working the 12 steps as they're laid out in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. This meeting will be held on the second Tuesday of each month, where we will cover one step per month. There will be a question and answer session at the end of each meeting. And also, just to let you know, since I wrote this format, I actually need to rewrite it, but we are meeting each Tuesday, and we move on to the next step on the second Tuesday of each month. So anyone is welcome to join us on any Tuesday at 1 p.m. Eastern at this link, at the Zoom link. Today, we will be discussing step 6 and 7. There's been a lot of deliberation about this one, so we'll turn the time over to Lulu and we'll see where it goes. Go for it, Lulu.
Hi, I'm Lulu, compulsive overeater. Yeah, we just trying to decide whether to do 6 and 7 together, 6 one month and 7 another month, and we realized that it was probably impossible to talk about step 6 without talking about step 7, so we'll just mush them together. So 6 and 7. So my experience with step 6 and 7 is that if you go back and look at the other listen to the other audios here on the 5th step, on tallying up self-seeking behaviors and fears that come from your 4th step resentment writing. It's all there. I'm not going to explain it. If you want to know what I'm talking about, you can just listen to those other recordings. It's on the fears in relation to resentment and the self-seeking behaviors in relation to resentment. And we do like a tally of them. And we just find for my step 6 list, and this is the way I do it with sponsees as well, is that after tallying how many times these fears show up on my writing and how many times the self-seeking behaviors show up in my writing, I considered the top 3 that had the most marks, the highest number, to be my prominent character defects, my character shortcomings. If I'm not getting my way and I get filled with fear, that is something about my character that I would like removed. If I have a fear of other people's opinions, I would like to not fear that. I think I would present myself in the world in a better way. I would not be riddled up with fear, which is, like it says in the big book, might as well be classified with stealing. It just steals your life, steals your joy, steals your moment. Even if it's just the moment, you just lost the moment, and not having control. Mine was in not having control. And it's really unproductive to live in this world, fear of not having control, because you don't have control anyway. So it's like that in itself is delusional. So it's like, if I can just decide that I don't have control, and I actually don't want it because it's too big of a job to run the world, somebody else has got that job. It's not me. And then the self-seeking behaviors are the things that I do to make myself feel better as I am afraid of these things. And as a result of being afraid of these things, I'm resenting situations and people and places and things, and just don't like it, and it's got to stop. And this is what I need to do to make myself feel better. For me, I was judging, I was silent scorning, I was gossiping, because hey, nothing better to come home and just wow and start bitching and moaning and complaining, talking about everybody that's not there. Makes you feel good, and withdrawing and avoiding came up for me a lot too. kind of just removing yourself from life is sometimes easier than dealing with it. And, that's not a productive way to live either. So here was my step 6 list: not getting my way, other people's opinions, not having control, judging people, judging others, silently scorning. I might not tell you off, but oh gosh, if you could hear what's going on in my head. And then what's going in my head is it's all mine. It's all my, first of all, it's all mine, because that's what I'm filling myself up with instead of joy and the grace of God. I'm doing that instead. Um, Plus, I might silence scorn you, but my resentment is probably going to come out sideways somewhere else, another time of the day, another person. Somebody's going to feel it. Somebody's going to feel it. I'm at work resenting my coworker because I'm worried about her opinion of me, or because I don't have control over I want to control her job because it affects my job. I want to control her job. So I'm trying not to say anything because I get this fear of not having control, worrying about what she's going to think of me. And then I got this fear, but now what do I got to do to make myself feel better? First of all, I've already completely judged her in my mind, and I've labeled her with all kinds of things. Now I'm going to shut up because I don't want to rock the boat. I'm not going to rock the boat, not today, But then I might go down the hall and tell the other coworker, you got to hear this about her, she's doing her job inefficiently, whatever. And so now doing that to make myself feel better. Then I go home and maybe I yell at my kids all night because I'm just wrapped up, So anyway, so these were things that I decided that I didn't want anymore. Although they're not always easy to get rid of and decide that you really want to get rid of them. It's as funny as it sounds. It seems almost like, of course I don't want to be like that. But it's kind of like, if I stop trying to control things, how am I going to get what I need? Like, I have to control things. Like, really? How can it not matter to me what people think about me? Because what people think about me, I need people to think good things about me. How would I be okay if whatever they think is okay? How would that even work? And anyway, I'm going to let Shalece talk about her experience with step 6, and then we'll talk more about it later.
Thank you, Lulu. Yeah, step 6 was such an eye-opening experience for me because I didn't, before doing the writing, before kind of taking that inventory and just kind of exploring my past and all of the resentments that I was carrying around with me, I had no idea what my reactions to life were. I saw this meme the other day, and it said, life is like a game of chess. I don't know how to play chess. And that was what my life was like before coming into program. And I still am learning to play chess. It's a game that life is a game that is a challenge. There's so many situations that come our way, and I didn't know how to manage those situations, just like I didn't know how to manage my food. So something on page, let's see here, just sharing page 82 of the big book, down at the bottom last paragraph, it starts, the alcoholic is like a tornado roaring his way through the lives of others. Hearts are broken, sweet relationships are dead, affections have been uprooted, selfish and inconsiderate habits have kept the home in turmoil. We feel a man is unthinking when he says that sobriety is enough. He is like the farmer who came up out of his cyclone cellar to find his home ruined. To his wife, he remarked, "Don't see anything the matter here, Ma. Ain't it grand? The wind stopped blowing." So for me, the food part, putting that down was great, but the food was masking, or it was a Band-Aid for my defects. It was one of it was one of my defects. That was one of the things that I did to make myself feel better. It was on the list. It was on my steps. You know, it was one that I wasn't practicing anymore by the time I got to step 6. By the time I got to step 2, I wasn't practicing it anymore, but I realized that that was one of the reactions that I was having to life. And so coming to the part where I am seeing these reactions like judge, label, blame, withdraw. Those were it was a tie between blame and withdraw for me on my tally marks. And so those were those were interesting to become aware of those. And it was kind of like, oh, every time after I became aware of those defects, I would just catch myself and I go, oh, yeah, there it was. I was judging again. Oh my gosh, I was blaming again. I was labeling again. Oh my gosh, there I was withdrawing. And so just becoming aware, to me, becoming aware is the first step toward change. That I have to have an awareness before a change can happen. But step 6 isn't about a change. Step 6 is about identifying those behaviors. And I will add here, as I was, looking at these defects and thinking, oh, geez, this really sucks that I do these things. My sponsor pointed out to me, did you notice that this is like a copy and paste type list? Like everybody has these defects, either in some form or another. Either maybe they're different ones on the list. Maybe these ones are more prevalent. Maybe these ones for someone else. But it was kind of almost like oh, I'm just human. I'm a human. And these are the things that humans do to make themselves feel better in reaction to fear and discomfort. And so that was really just kind of eye-opening and humbling at the same time, just being like, oh, I'm not a weirdo that I judge, label, and blame everybody. I'm actually it's normal. But I don't want to do that anymore because it doesn't feel good. It just like when I went to the food, it didn't make me feel better. Like I went to the food to make me feel better, and it made me feel worse. So it was the same. It's the same with these defects, these other defects, judging, labeling, blaming, withdrawing, people pleasing, overdoing. None of those things make me feel better. In fact, they're harmful to me and they're harmful to others. So really, really grateful for the opportunity to become aware and to know exactly what my defects are. Oh my gosh, if I know exactly what my defects are, then I'm on my way to change. So that is what I've got on my experience with step 6, and I'm going to pass it over to Lulu again.
Hi, Lulu again, compulsive overeater. So I guess if we move right on to step 7, basically you take these, like Shalece said, they're all kind of cut and pasted. That list that we pick from are just your typical addict things, a lot of it is like just regular human things, but typical for addicts as well. I also want to say that, like, if you don't do your 4th step like this and you don't have a list of your fears in relation to the resentments, and you don't do a self-seeking list that looks like the one I explained, that you could easily kind of pick out what you've done, because people do it differently. But I'll tell you, I listened to a recording on Harlan when Harlan was talking about step. No, it wasn't a recording. It was a phone call that I had with him, because I decided I had a resentment, and this was before I had the sponsor I have now. I had a different sponsor, and I was like, I'm going right to the top. I'm going to call Harlan, and I'm going to have him help me with this, right? So he always says, call. I'm telling you, call him. He'll answer the phone. But prepare to get yelled at. No, I'm kidding. He's just, you just do it. Sit down and shut up and do it, right? And so when I was talking to him about the character defects that I found as a result of that resentment that I was talking to him about, he goes, what are you doing? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? He goes, there's only 4 character defects. There's only 4. We all have them. Selfish, self-seeking, dishonest, and afraid. Sound familiar? And you know something, when you really think about it, it's true. Selfish, all of these things, everything on the self-seeking list, everything on the fears list, selfish, self-seeking, dishonest, and afraid. So if you wanted to take those four defects of character to step 7, you're doing it right. Personally, the way that I was brought through it is we just kind of fine-tuned it. And if you kind of take the top 3 of your go-tos, specifically, the specific fears and the specific self-seeking, it just hones in. And for me, it was, I find that you can really custom create some really nice prayers, 7-step prayers. Now, here again, it can be step 7. Step 6 can be as easy as selfish, self-seeking, dishonest, afraid. And step 7 could be as easy as, my Creator, I am now willing that you should have all of me, good and bad. I pray that you now remove from me every single defect of character which stands in the way of my usefulness to you and my fellows. Grant me strength as I go out here to do your bidding. Amen. That could just be your 6 and 7 right there. You can kind of do it in about 10 minutes. And then you just say that prayer every day. I just find that it's extremely effective when it's a little bit more custom. And not only that, what I like to do, I don't like to talk about in my 7-step prayer and the 7-step prayers that I help sponsees create. I don't want the words good and bad in there. I don't want the word defect. I don't want to say these words in my prayer when I'm praying. I like to, I'm kind of into the law of attraction. I love the law of attraction, and I just find it fascinating. And I like to take a look at my character defects, and I like to consider the opposite of them. And I like, what would it look like if I didn't have that fear? What in practicality, what would that look like? So instead of me praying that I lose the fear of not having control, I just say, dear God, help me to surrender everything that's going on around me is yours. It's all yours. So I didn't even say the word control. I didn't wish something was gone. I didn't ask for something to leave me. I invited something new in. And that's personal. And this presentation part of this step work is totally our own personal experience. So if it doesn't sound like it matches up with the book, or it's not, it's just my personal experience. And but it's a real, I have my sponsees do their tallies, and they give me their top 3 fears and the top 3 self-seeking. Send them to me. Now I want you to send it to me again, and I want you to tell me what is the opposite of that. Not getting my way is trusting in divine timing, because whatever I think I need to get my way on, it might be something I will get. It's just not this minute. So I don't need to fear not getting what I want, or not getting my way, because if it's something that's supposed to be a part of my life, it will come to me, not in my timing. So it's about inviting God, give me, to trust in divine timing. So now my prayer is filled with beautiful words. Other people's opinions, God, help me to, bless me with the comfort that would come to me if I knew that everything that I do and say is between you and I. And I know if it's okay with God, I know it's okay. So it really just quite doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. I like to think that. I ask God, like, I ask God for awarenesses. I ask God for um, uh, um, um, a better understanding. I don't even like to say, like, uh, help me. I don't like to say help me too much. I like to say thank you. And I like to say, bless me with something, because I want to I want God to know that, like, when this does come around, it's a blessing. It is a blessing. What I love about sponsoring people through the 7-step is, like, there'll be a point in their recovery, like post-step work, where they're getting a little tripped up on something, and I'll be like, well, it sounds like maybe we need to revisit your step 7 prayer. Then we revisit the step 7 prayer, and everything that's in it are all prayers that have been answered. It's just so funny. This just happened to me this week. Well, last week with somebody. And so he's a little tripped up on life right now, kind of impatient on how it's going to go, and worrying about something. And, I just, like, I don't know why you're worrying, because everything's just going to happen in divine time. Just wait, right? So I said, let's look at your step 7 prayer. We haven't looked at it in a while. So he sent it to me, and every single thing on it had nothing to do with what was going on with him right now, but everything has been answered. I was like, will you look at this? Will you look at this? Everything, it was all about relations with other people. He's got no problem with people anymore. Like, everybody that was on his list, and everybody's little quirks and the stuff that used to make him cuckoo. I was just like, when's the last time you even felt like that? All those prayers have been answered. Delete the friggin' prayer. Because now you need a new one, and those will be answered too. Did you just see that it was answered? You say it every day. I always tell everybody, write it, keep it, write it on a little card, keep it with your toothbrush. Keep it with your toothbrush. Whenever you brush your teeth, say it, and what you're doing is you're putting out this vibration, in my opinion. in my spiritual world, you're putting out a vibration of what you want, rather than what you don't want. So I don't want to be brushing my teeth thinking, oh, help me to stop being such a jerk, and help me to stop talking. Oh, I gossiping, and I was telling. I don't want to invite that stuff in my world, in my prayers. I don't need to do that. I like to ask for the opposite. So we built a whole new prayer together for this new stuff that's on his plate. But I was like, we're going to open this one up that says, thank you so much for answering my prayers. I wanted to do and be better in all my relationships, and miraculously, I've been able to accept people and meet them where they are. I am so grateful that you've blessed me with this new peace of mind around people and food. Can't forget, we used to be all twisted up with food, and that's gone too, right? So it's like gifts. It's like, now this is my new prayer, but it's like, just acknowledge. And then and what happens is when you pray that every day, and part of that thank you is there, it's like reminding you every day of the gifts that you have, so you don't feel so cheated when you're going along in your life and feeling like, I need this to happen now, and I'm afraid it's not going to happen, and then what if I fail, and blah blah blah. It's just like, like, let's look at everything that has come to you. And we just built a whole prayer, and it's beautiful. It's just beautiful. And he's been using it for about, I think, probably 3 or 4 days, and he already says it's changed his life. It's already changing. He already can feel it. So it's really cool. It's really, really cool. I love 6 and 7. I know, got one more thing to say. So, I don't know if you haven't heard of Drop the Rock. It's an old AA story. It was told by a speaker in AA in like in the 70s. And the premise is, I'll probably butcher the story, but fortunately, the whole um, speaker is on YouTube. And if you Google uh, "Drop the Rocks," Sandy Beach. So Sandy Beach, he's the one that tells the story. There's YouTube videos that you can listen to his whole lecture, which is an hour long, or there's one that's like 3.5 minutes, which is just the Drop the Rock story. Basically, it's about like, oh, I'm going to try to remember it the best I can, but there's like this boat, and the boat has all these people on it, and they're all like sober alcoholics, and they're all happy, joyous, and free on this boat, and there's Sally, or whatever her name is, and she's got this like a backpack full of rocks, and she's trying to swim to every rock representing her character defects. And it's like she's carrying around these character defects, and like she can't get to the boat because it's just weighing heavy, and they're all they're all yelling to her overboard, drop the rocks, and she's just like, I don't know if I can, what am I gonna do, how am I gonna get my way, how am I gonna have control, and she's trying to swim to the boat, and she's going under, and they're like, just drop the rocks. It's like, it just seems so simple. Like, have a happy, joyous, and free life. Just drop the friggin' rocks. And anyway, if you have, maybe we'll put a link in there for that YouTube video. Maybe we'll put it right underneath this one. And but it's a good story. But he's a riot, and he tells it really funny. And but it's just, yeah. And there's actually a book called Drop the Rock too. And it's just, if you consider these character defects just boulders that you're carrying around with you everywhere you go. It's kind of like we lose that physical weight. Like I carried around 100 extra pounds everywhere I went. That got tiring. And then you don't even realize how tiring these fears are, and how tiring these self-seeking, like I don't want to self-seek myself anymore. It was just exhausting. So you just drop the rocks, you feel as light as a feather, and then you just pray your ass off. That's what I got for this.
Thank you, Lulu. Step 7. Oh my goodness. This one was and is so powerful. I remember after making my list, my sponsor showing me to turn around the defect and find what the asset would look like. And that was so helpful for me, because I was like, judging. What would be the opposite of judging? Judging. How about acceptance? And she said, acceptance is a pretty big leap from judgment to acceptance. How about just observe with understanding? How about just observe, just watch, just observe, rather than, judging or or even trying to shoot for acceptance at that point. And that was such kind of just eye-opening for me to see what I would be shooting for, and writing a prayer around these top 3. I actually had 4 self-seeking behaviors that I had 2 that tied, and then I had 3 fears. And so putting those together, and just writing out a prayer that I would read every day that would direct me toward the asset, was absolutely life-changing for me. And I also had a very, very good experience recently with my 7th step prayer, where some new defects came up, or maybe not new defects, just some other defects. They're not new. They're as old as ancient Rome. I don't know, but whatever. They're not new. But I had some defects come to the surface, and And I was super frustrated, and I was like, oh, what? I've been doing this for so long. I should be perfect by now. What the crap? And so doing some 10th step work and really digging out these defects and starting to observe them with understanding and see where they're coming from. Also, not judging myself. But I was encouraged to look at my 7th step prayer again and see what had been removed. And I was able to list all of the things that God had already removed for me: judging, labeling, blaming, withdrawing. None of those things were on my list anymore. They had been replaced with other defects, but those ones were gone. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I don't do that anymore. And I don't do that anymore. And oh my goodness, this one's on its way out. This one's going because I've become aware through my 10th steps, like some new understanding about that particular defect. And so all of this work is to move me toward those assets. It's to show me my own writing shows me the defects that I need to ask God to remove. And so I had the privilege of working on a new 7th step prayer, and was guided so beautifully to create one with gratitudes in the first paragraph. And actually mine was like more like a 7th step novel. It was really long, and it was like, oh wow, poor God, he was probably super bored by the time I got to the end of that 7th step prayer. He's like, oh. No, he loved it. He loved every minute. He's like, oh yes, I get to hear that from her again. Yay. No, but this new 7th step prayer that has recently come into my life, actually laminated into a bookmark. And I asked for the printer to make 3 for me, and I got a bonus one because they had extra paper. So they were just like, we just made you 4. So that was awesome. So one sits with my toothbrush, one sits in my journal, my 2-way prayer journal, one sits in my purse so that I can pull it out when I'm standing at the grocery store. Instead of pulling my phone out, I can pull that out and review what it is that I'm really asking God very fervently to remove from me. And then the 4th one is somewhere else. I can't remember where I put it. I can't remember, but it's somewhere. I'm sure I'll find it one day and be like, oh yeah, there it is again. But it's amazing to me to not only know what my defects are as the result of working step 6, finding those in my list, but then really, it's one thing to know what your defects are, and then it's another to ask to have them removed. And it's work. It's work. And God is presenting, and God will present many opportunities for us to experiencing these defects again. It's something that I've noticed with my new 7th step prayer is that I used to be like, when things would come my way and my defects would come up, I'd be like, curses, there it is again. There it is again. But with some new understanding, I'm seeing that these are actually really, truly opportunities. God's like, you ask for it to be removed. Here you go. You got to experience it again. Oh, there you go. And I'm also seeing, if I'm asking God to move mountains, I better expect that the ground's going to shake, and it's going to be God is really good at shaking things up for me. I think step 7, I don't know, it just has such new special meaning for me. It really is amazing to really get to commune with God and see how everything is designed to help me to grow towards Him, towards God. Everything that is sent my way, I don't look at it as a curse anymore. Some days I do, and then I'm reminded very quick. I'm like, no, this isn't a curse. This experience, this situation, it's to show me who I'm not, who I don't want to be, that's my defects. That's who I don't want to be. And then I get to create with God who I do want to be. And I even now just experiencing yesterday how I think I've been praying this new prayer for about 2 weeks, and I'm just seeing miracle after miracle after miracle of opportunities. I'm like, oh, there's another opportunity. There's another opportunity. And just pausing. And again, something that observing is so powerful. Just stop for a freaking second. Just stop. Watch yourself. Watch others. I see my defects come up. I see defects in other people that I'm interacting with. And it's amazing to just be able to observe. And then even in that moment, my prayer will come to my mind, and will kind of push me back into line with God and moving towards those assets. So that's my experience with step 7. I'm gonna, Lulu, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just thinking about how what I love to think of is that it's not, I mean, I love the big book, and it's my Bible. It is my Bible. But that good and bad in the 7-step prayer in the book, like take everything, the good and bad. I don't know. My God, there's just not good and bad. There's equal, and it helps me to go forward to see I don't have to be labeling people good or bad, not even myself. So it's just we're all doing what we're doing, right? So what I liked, what I came across in some spiritual readings and stuff that just really stuck with me was that we have uh, we have inclinations and we have aspirations. So I'm inclined, like my step 6 list are just things that I'm inclined to do. Those are the things I'm inclined to do. Why? Um, because of my experience from day 1 till today. Maybe they were coping mechanisms. Maybe they were how I got what I wanted, or maybe they, um, I don't know. I didn't know that, maybe I didn't even know that they were, just things become habitual. Sometimes things, so they're really not anything, you don't have to take this list and bat yourself over the head with it. They're just things that I was inclined to be, do, say, and be, and think. But then my step 7 list, my step 7 prayer, excuse me, is more about what I aspire to be. And it's basically about breaking habits. It's just about breaking habits, things that are habitual, things that I'm inclined to do. I was inclined to spend the day in the refrigerator until I was aspiring not to do that. And the grace of God took that away from me. And if, I mean, the food had me by the throat. Okay. So if that was removed from me, why the heck can't, some of these things be removed from me? I'm just inclined to be selfish. I'm inclined to be dishonest, not really with other people, but dishonest with myself, the lies I'm telling myself. I'm inclined to judge people. That's what my inclinations are until I aspire to be different. And step 7 is just like a proclamation of that. And it's just like, I proclaim, this is who I want to be. This is who I want to be. I put that into the universe, and then the universe brings it to you. And that's my experience with, I love 6 and 7. It's 2 little paragraphs in this whole big book, 2 little paragraphs. And sometimes, people go over them a little bit too quickly. I've heard them referred to as like a little parking spot in between 5 and 8. It's just like people take a little rest. Oh, now I can rest. It's 6 and 7. It's just 2 paragraphs. Oh, I just have to think this and say this. For me, it's the whole drop the rock story. It's about carrying around rocks, and it's huge. To find those defects, the only way I'm going to find them is by writing my 4th step. And even then, it's not until I vocalize my fifth step is when these things actually are presented to me and shown to me in a way that even though I wrote it, it didn't seem like I was writing anything bad about myself. It seemed like it was all just total true. It was all true. And until by sharing it with someone, I was invited to look at it a different way and see me in my part. And then that's when it was like, oh, 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 like for weeks. And 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 then I saw what I was how I was inclined to do life, and I was invited to have other ideas of how I wanted to proceed for the rest of my life. I didn't want to be in the fridge. I didn't want to be at the liquor store, and I didn't want to be carrying around a pile of rocks, a bag of rocks with me everywhere I go, just judging and blaming and complaining and nagging and blah, 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 you know. But just a really funny story. My daughter she's in her early 30s, so she just got this new apartment out where she lives, and she's all excited, and she got this new shower curtain, and she's like, oh, Mom. She said, I love my new shower curtain. She goes, now I know why you nagged us all the time to shut the shower curtain, because if I leave mine open, I want it shut because it's so pretty. And you wanted yours shut because it was pretty, and nobody ever shut it. She goes, now I see why you were always nagging. But when she said that, I thought, oh, did I nag? I don't remember nagging. But see, this is what I'm saying, the extent to which something can be said and you just want to look within. It's like, was I nagging? I think I was probably screaming. That's probably what I was probably going, oh, who left it open again? But when we're parents of young children, it's very, that's a rough time. So, I mean, I've been through it. People are still going through it. It's not an easy job. People that are in recovery and that are doing parenthood different than I did, oh, God bless them. But I'm not regretting my past. I wanted my friggin' shower curtain shut, and I guess I let it know because 32 years later, she still remembers. People don't forget. But I can't wait for the day I can go visit her and leave the shower curtain open. No, I'm kidding. No, I don't have revengeful thoughts anymore. It would just be a joke if I did it. But yep. Okay, that's all I got on this. We all set?
Yes. Okay. So we're gonna open it up for questions. If anyone that's in attendance here has any questions about step 6 or 7, feel free to pop them in the chat.
I think we pretty much covered it, didn't we? Did we? But yeah, so we'll have to definitely get that link to that YouTube video.
Yes, for sure.
Sandy Beach. I think his name is Sandy. I don't know if his last name is Beach, but that would be a cool name.
That is a cool name.
Yeah, but it says Sandy B, but one of them says Sandy Beach. I bet you they just call him Sandy Beach.
That's pretty awesome.
But it's a very it's like a 50-year-old AA story that's still talked about today. Imagine that. Imagine just one guy sharing this kind of analogy that he came up with about the boat, and people are still talking about it all these years later. Isn't that something?
That's so awesome. I totally connect with analogies. Like it helps me to picture things. So, well, it looks like we don't have any questions. Is there anything else you want to add? I'm trying to think if there's anything else. We kind of covered it.
I guess I'd like to say that if anybody is working these steps, and if you have your step 6 list and you would like some help putting together a prayer, I really love doing it. I just give you like a first draft because I'm not you, and it needs to be authentic for you. But I love like feeling those character defects and really feeling about like just about for me, the wording is, I like the wording to be something I want to attract in rather than what I want to get rid of. And I just love kind of twisting those down around into just gratitude and blessings and asking for ease and comfort that will, God, please bless me with the ease and comfort that I will feel when I begin to, instead of when I stop doing this. Like, I don't even want to say the words, So anyway, I just invite anybody there's my email address is on the first page on this Step It Up blog spot, and feel free to email me. And, it's, some people are like, where do I start? Like, where do I start? Well, you can start. You could just say the prayer in the big book, because I'm not dissing that at all. I wouldn't diss one word in this book. Love this book. And it's just, I just love that, like the law of attraction. I just believe that there's the energy of the universe. It's kind of like when you sing to plants, they grow faster, they're just bright. They're a brighter green, and they're a little perkier when you sing to them, and I just believe, I just like to bring that energy.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so powerful to just kind of keep in mind and have on the forefront of my mind what it is that I want to be building with my higher power, instead of what has been so destructive to myself and others. And so, like, it's to me, it's just like a blueprint. Like, it's so cool. It's like a blueprint to what I would like for my life to feel like or look like on the other side of the defects. And it's just, I don't know. It's so super powerful. I totally, if anybody wants a custom 7-step prayer, how cool is that? Like, I want mine tattooed right here. Next time you see me, don't be surprised.
Well, no, don't tattoo. Make sure you use henna, because all of those are going to be removed. You're going to have a new one. When all those,
I got a body. I got a whole body.
You're gonna have. But no, when you just said build that God will build with you, it just reminded me of the 3rd step prayer. Build with me and do with me as thy will. It's because it's all about victory over them. This new character that I want to build. Victory over them, my difficulties, which is my selfish, self-seeking, dishonest, and fear, would be a witness to those I would help. Right? So basically, it's like, why do I want these removed? So I can be a better service to God, to fit myself to be of better service to God and those people about me. And it's just so, when they say, like, you ask God to help you with your patience, and then, you go out and you hit every red light, and then you're complaining about every red light, just like, didn't you ask? You need opportunities. Like, you need opportunities to exercise and build your character. So I went from being a victim of things and always feeling like, shit, this is a bad day. This is a bad day. Well, it's a good day. It's a bad day. To just knowing that life is just a series of situations. And every situation is an opportunity for me to build my character. Like Shalece said earlier, God's kind of like, here you go. Let's see what you're made of here, girl. Let's see what you're made of, And it's like, are you going to trip up again? Maybe you will, but you'll be so aware of it. You'll be like, oh, sorry about that. I was just I almost called my sister to complain about my other sister. Almost did it, and I put the phone down, And then you get to the point where you don't even pick up the phone. It's kind of like when you first get abstinent, you're going through the cupboards in the fridge, just kind of peeking in and looking at everything you're not going to have, and then shutting it. And then now it's like, who needs to look? It's what it's in there. You don't even need to look right until the next meal. And so everything is possible with God.